scientist.
Finally, in 1987, we can make our own gross out toys. No more just squeezing a toy and seeing boogers fly out. Now we have the power to make our own. Kids growing up have always loved gross out toys. I don't really know when the fad started, but I know in the 80s, they loved them. I mean, it started with the Garbage Pail Kids. I said started, didn't really start with the Garbage Pail Kids, but I meant kids loved anything that would gross them out. Mad balls, they were balls you could squeeze and snot would come out their nose. But in 1987, Mattel Toys released Mad Scientist. This is where you got to be the scientist and make your own grossed out toys. Oh, it was great, especially if you had a little sister. Now, I said this was 1987, and for some reason, I had one. I was 15 years old. I had to have got it for Christmas, and I can remember seeing the commercials. In fact, let's look at one of the commercials real quick.
It's finished. I've created the Monster Lab, and it's
too gross.
First, you put monster flesh on their creepy little bones. Then pour flesh remover into the Monster Lab and bubble off their flab.
Too yucky.
Look at this nasty guy.
The Monster Lab. Watch for time freaks and more gross creations so you too can be a mad scientist.
Too gross.
Oh, I remember having that one for sure. That's the one I had. But like I said, I was 15. I was way too old to be buying this, wasn't I? 15. And I can remember getting this set here where you had to put all this gook stuff on the creature and put it in this tank with water. And I can remember trying to get someone to come over and play it with me. Didn't want to play it with myself. Well, I didn't want to play Mad Scientist with myself. I played Mad something else with myself. But I can remember filling up this tank and sitting at the bottom of my closet so I wouldn't knock it over. Didn't want to put it on my dresser. Didn't want to put it on anything else. Couldn't sit it on the bed. And I guess I went out to play. Well, I went out to do something. And I didn't think about it again until about 6 months later when I found that case in my closet, still filled with water. It was so moldy looking. It was just gross. But let's dig into some pictures from Mad Scientist. And this is an ad I remember. I remember this ad. Maybe it's one of the ads that made me want it. I can't remember if it was on the back of the box or like an ad in a magazine. But I can remember being freaked out about it because look at that kid. Why was his lips so red? I wanted to know. Do you supposed to eat this stuff? Does it turn your lips red? Now, some of you may recognize the Mad Scientist, but you didn't have this toy because he kind of looks like the guy from Robot Chicken. Remember that guy? And look here. So you could buy these little containers that would, it's mostly like goo and stuff. And you could do a lot of things with them. Come with like a little mold. And here's one that was living ice. It wasn't like it was cold or anything. I don't know why it was called that. And here's Monster Flesh. This is the one you can put on the little toy and give it some flesh, like a little action figure, and you give it some flesh and pull it off and everything. Weird. And how about this one, Monster Flesh? I think that's the same thing, just different color bottle, container. So I saved it right there. Here we go. What is this? Did you know they made a watch? Yeah, Mattel made a watch. Yeah, a Mad Scientist watch. I didn't have this. Now, 15, I sure wasn't going to walk around wearing it. But if I saw it, I probably would have been intrigued. I'd have probably been saying, man, I'd like to have that. I wish I was 10 again. Man, let's say new stopwatch and date function digital readout. Whew. Now that I know that, my parents wouldn't have been able to afford that, I'm sure. What's wrong with this sleeve here? Sorry about that. And then we have the glowing gloop. This is kids love the glowing stuff. I mean the gloop or slime. We call it slime. I first saw it in bubblegum machines and they started bottling. The toys, I think a He-Man toy came with it. A lot of toys came with slime. This is it, but it glow in the dark. Oh, I would have loved to have that. I loved anything that would glow in the dark. Here's a back of a box that shows you the splitter where you can kind of like make the figures and make your own little figure and make it gross and nasty. Ugh. And how about this? I had this one. I had this one right here. In fact, let's look at a commercial for it.
Mad Scientist.
I've done it. It's dissect an alien, and it's
Gross!
You take his insides out and put them back in. He's a bloody mess.
Yuck!
That's disgusting.
That's the point.
He's spilling his guts.
Yuck. Look for more of my gross creations so you too can be a mad scientist. Dissect an alien. Too gross.
Oh, how about this? Here's the first one I think that came out. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. You guys deserve to see this picture bigger, don't you? You deserve that, and I like to give you what you deserve. Mad Scientist Monster Lab. And I remember having the Monster Lab because it came with this mat. It came with this mat, and you put all the stuff on it. I can remember playing with it one time, but it was so messy. It was so much work, and you had to wait time. I just didn't have time for it. I was 15. I didn't have time to wait for my monster goo to get all gooey and everything. It was just too much trouble. It was just too much trouble. So I remember wanting it, just never really played with it, except for that one I put in the container and put in the closet. It turned to like nasty mold. Ugh, that thing was nasty. I had to take it out, and I didn't want my parents to see me take it out, so I snuck it to the trash can outside. And here's one that's been safety tested. I like to have that job. There's a monkey, and it shoots out that green slime and goo and everything. Gross. Oh, and here's the mat. I told you there was a mat. I had this mat. It looks like a turd it was like a turd on that map. But I remember that you put the thing in the middle of the map and everything, and it was just a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want a toy to play and relax, not a toy to make me work. And then we got the hand. I don't remember the hand. Does anyone remember the hand? It says eyeball maker. It looks like a hand to me. Doesn't that look like a hand? It looks like a hand. It says eyeball maker. Make an eyeball. Gross. And look at this. I guess this was only released in Japan or something because it's got some crazy writing on it I ain't never seen. And it looks like Godzilla. Godzilla's in that tube. Now, I made mine in the tube thing in a case like that, but it wasn't Godzilla. That would have been kind of cool. Man, them Japanese people love Godzilla. And did you know they made action figures? A-card, is that how you say that? A-R-C-O? A-card? A-card, maybe? Who knows? Maybe it's Arco. I'm going to go with Arco. They made, actually, I don't know if they're related to Mattel. It's just weird that Mattel made the figures. I mean, the kits and everything. And here we go. A figure. Did he have a name? Bendable Mad Scientist. I guess he never have a name. That's sad. And here he is in a box set. That's too gross. Man, that box set is too gross. Hey, I tell you what. Let's look at another commercial.
I've invented the Flex Factory, where things get big and small. But that's not all.
Mad scientist!
Flex formula is what you use to make the weird creations you choose.
You can pump them up big,
And watch them expand.
then shrink them down.
Just use your hand. My Flex Factory is wacky and wild and too weird. The Flex Factory comes with everything you see here. Air and imagination not included.
Whew, that was exciting, wasn't it? Makes you want to go be a mad scientist today. Now, they've redone this toy and called it something different. The other toy companies have done it, but man, this is like the last toy I can remember being excited about. You know, I was 15, too old for it, but I can remember waiting for it for Christmas, getting it for Christmas. Just too much work. Nobody would play it with me. I remember my friend Boyd across the street. He was like, no, and he was like a year younger than me. He didn't even want to play with it. No one wanted to. I even asked his little brother, "Hey, you want to come over and play Mad Scientist in my bedroom?" And they all said no. I asked every little kid. I would just walk down the street and see little kids like 8, 9 years old walking down the street. Be like, "Hey, you want to come to my bedroom and play Mad Scientist?" No one wanted to. Nobody wanted to play Mad Scientist with me. I'm sure you guys would have, wouldn't you? Any of you guys want to come over now and play Mad Scientist? But anyway, I got one more. Don't go away. I got one more to show you. And I didn't know they made this until right now, right today, like 10 minutes ago. And it's creepy, man. Did you know they made a role-playing one? A role-playing Mad Scientist where you could dress up like the Mad Scientist and make your Mad Science toys. Yeah, they did. Check this out. Dress up playset. That thing is freaky. Look at that. Now, if I had this and I walked around the neighborhood asking little kids if they want to come to my lab and let me play Mad Scientist with them, I'm sure a lot of kids would have been lining up outside. I would have had a lot of kids playing because that looks cool. It says it's too gross, though. But that's a look at Mad Scientist. I know it's not really an in-depth video about each one and what each one did. I kind of just didn't... I just kind of want to talk about the toy line, kind of reminisce about having it and why I bought it at 15 and why I asked for it at 15. I'm sure it was a gift. I'm sure I didn't buy it myself. And just curious, you guys out there, if you had it, which one was your favorite kid? And wanted to pull up and look at some commercials also. So thank you for watching.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.